Hello everyone and welcome to Caroline's Craftery. Today I just wanted to share with you a little project I'm making for inside my dragon journal. Now this is going to be a whole series, so hopefully you've been following along. And today I'm just making some little cluster type things for inside. And I thought I'd show you how I'm making them. I made some little tiny ones with buttons on. And I also made some of these, which I'm going to use for tabs. So let's just show you what I did. I've got some shiny thread. I wanted to do shiny, I like that little bit of shininess in the thing. So this is like a variegated, it's got blues, pinks in it and stuff, gold trims. I've got some of these leaf things, which I used on 2 of these. And then I've got some kind of mohair yarn, which is in greens, that I used also. So my idea for these is the bigger ones are going to go on the tops of some of the pages, because the signatures are a little bit small. So I just wanted to fill in a bit. Hopefully you can see that. And then the tabs will go along this side, of course. So I'm making 4 big ones, 6 of these, and I made 6 of these. So let's start with the big one. Now, I'm just doing like a folded fabric ribbon, I guess we call them. And I'm just going to pin mine because I'm going to be sewing it by hand. But you can do these any way you want. So I'm just going to pin these up. Now I glue these sometimes. Sometimes I do them on the sewing machine. Other times I hand stitch them. It all depends on how I'm feeling on any given day. So there is that. Now there's lots of ways that people make these. I just put the pins in because I find it easier. So now I'm going to just put this piece of cheesecloth that I dyed, and I'm going to lay it on the top like that. And now I'm going to repin it, just because I know sometimes I do things this difficult way, but that's okay. Now when I make a journal, I'll go and make different things in different orders. Sometimes I do the cover first, sometimes I do the signatures first. I never know what I'm going to do, and I just happen to be sitting here and I wanted to make these, so that's what I did. Now this is kind of lopsided, but that's okay. It'll be okay. So now I want to put this mohair down the middle, but I want kind of the hair on it going one way and then the other way. So I'm going to just kind of pull the hair to one side. And because this type of stuff is so hard to glue down, it will get sewn down. Now I'm going to try and pin my wool down a little bit, because, like I say, I'm going to stitch it down. So I need to have it sort of attached somehow. Like I say, you know, I tend to do things the hard way. But as long as the job gets done, that's okay. So this way I can stitch it down. I don't have to worry about it falling off. And this way it'll relatively stay in place as I'm doing what I need to do. But now I could zigzag this on a machine. I could zigzag down each thing of wool. But I'm going to hand stitch using this here. Now, so it's a form of slow stitching, I guess. And slow stitching is just hand stitching with a new name. Find my needle. Okay, let's thread this. I have no idea where you buy this kind of thread from. I've had it for ages and ages in my stash, and I just kind of thought the color would go good with this journal. I've really enjoyed doing this dragon journal so far. And I'm going to show bits and pieces of making it and whatnot when I do tags or pockets, etc. I will probably sew the signature in soon, even though I actually haven't done anything with the signature. But I'm not really planning on stitching much on the actual pages. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew my thread on first, her wool, and I'm just going to go up and down, nothing fancy. I don't really care how big my stitches are or where they are. And some will be straight, some will be angles. I'm not too picky about that right now, because all that you can see is little highlights of the stitches. Not sure if you can even see that, but you can see little bits of sparkle here and there throughout, which I liked. That's why I wanted to do the sparkly thread. And I tried to stick with lots of greens and whatnot, being that my dragon is green. I so enjoyed making the cover of this. It was my first dragon cover. I did a sample project, which all you folks thought was really nice. So I thank you all for your kind words and comments about it. And I hope you will enjoy the making of the cover, my first dragon cover. It was a lot of fun to make, and honestly, they're not that hard. I've tried to do a very good step-by-step on doing the cover. I made it with the help of a few YouTube videos. There's a number of people that do dragon journals and whatnot. Okay, so I'm pretty much to the end. So I'm just going to go to the back, and I'm just going to tie one knot. And that's just to hold that kind of tight. Just so then if I'm pulling, I'm not going to pucker up the material and stuff. So now I want to go down the other side, so I'm just going to weave my needle in and out to get to the other side. Now I'm going to sew down this one. Now you could sew up and down, you know, a bunch of times. I think I'm just going to do over each of the mohair yarn. Now you could use eyelash trim or other stuff with this. You could glue it all down if you wanted. I just like the fact of stitching. can be a little time consuming. I did make the 3 before because I thought, well, you don't really need to see me make 4 of them. And this one's a little bit different than the other one I made, because this one I just did one right down the center. But it's nice to have them a bit different. Okay, just about done. Doesn't take long to hand stitch. I love hand stitching. I find it very relaxing. And it's fun, and I can use a lot wider range of different types of threads and stuff. As I say, this is slow stitch, I guess. Okay, I think one more stitch, taking it to the back. And now I'm going to tie a knot. And I just do like a half hitch type knot. I find it easy, it holds. Won't be seeing this side anyways because it's going to be glued down to a page. Or that's my plan. So now what I'll do with my end is I'll just weave it in and out a couple times. So then I get the end kind of in the middle. So that way it gets glued down a little better. So there is that. Let's take the pins out. And there we have another large tab, I guess. Anyways, those will go up the top or the bottom of the page, so this stuff will all stick out. So now, let's do one of these little tabs. Now, I might go a little further and put a dangle on these or something. Not quite sure yet. So, I've got a smaller piece for a tab. This one is about 5 inches, and the finished size is going to be about 2 inches. So you need a little over double the length of to fold it up like this. So let's put in our needles. Now I could probably try and pin it all together at one time, but I'm not in no hurry to get these done. Okay, now I'm going to lay this down again. And I just went, these buttons are, they're almost like a mother of pearl button or something, but they've got this brown, almost scaly bit on the one side. That's why I went with them for this, because I thought it almost looks like dragon scales on this side of the button. And they're very, very thin buttons, which is kind of nice. So now what I did with this one, I got, how long is this? This is about 8 inches long of the mohair. Now what I did with this, being that I had the needles in here, I just kind of wrapped it around, back and forth around the needle, or pins. And then when I stitch that, that's all going to get stitched down. Now on this one, I'm just going to go back and forth like so, and just do a running stitch back and forth. On the other ones, I went 4 times, so I will do 4 times on this one too, because it holds everything down really, really nice. So there's no, I didn't use any glue on these. However, you could, if you wanted. And if I can see the hole in the needle, I can thread it. There we go. Let's just tie a knot. Now this thread, it's kind of wiry, so it's a little harder to tie a knot than your normal thread. But I usually just do this 3 or 4 times. Okay. Then we can start. Now I'm just going to start, doesn't really matter where. But I'm going to put my knot somewhere in the middle. So I'm just going to go here, like that. So when I pull it, my knot's way up here. And that way I can keep a little bit of a tag on the end. And I don't have to worry about it showing through. Now as I'm stitching, I want to make sure that I go over the yarn. So right here when I start, I'm going to go over the yarn, up, over the yarn. Just because otherwise it's not going to be attached down very well. So every time I go past the yarn, I try to go over it. Sometimes I want to put 1 stitch between them, sometimes 2. It really depends. There's no rhyme or reason to how many stitches or how tight I make my stitches. Just want to get that up above that fold. But I love the color combination of all this. After I do about 2 rows, then I can take my pins out and everything still stays attached. Now you can see some of these are quite wide stitches. Some are really narrow. It doesn't really matter to me as long as everything gets held on. That is the main thing. So I hope you'll try some of these. I think they turned out really good. The mohair just adds all that fuzziness to it, which I thought looked really good. I liked the look that it gave. And just the different shades of greens and whatnot. So we're on row number 3 of the stitching. Just gotta make sure I keep an eye on the time on my camera. We're still good for that. It turns off after 30 minutes, which is kind of annoying, but I think most of them do. Okay. It's hard to tell where my main string of my yarn is, but as long as I've caught it a couple times, I think I'm good. I'm okay if it puckers up a bit. I don't want it puckered up a lot by pulling the stitches too tight. So you can feel free to check out my Facebook group and my blog. I have a coffee site, K-O-F-I. There's a link to them all down below. And be sure to check all those out. Oops, poked my finger. Okay, we're almost done. Sometimes when I'm at the end and it's one of the corners where I I'll just go through it the one time. Okay, last stitch. Okay, let's get rid of the needles. Okay, now I'm going to tie a knot. Now the back is pretty sloppy. That's okay because it's going to be glued down anyways. You'll just see the very edge of it. So I'm going to put in a couple knots right here. Okay, and then I'm just going to weave my thread up so it's about in the middle of this thing because I'm going to sew the button on. So I'm going to tie a couple knots here just so then I can pull the button tight without puckering everything. So let's just do 2 1/2-inch type things. Okay, now the button is going to go on pretty much in the middle. And I'm just going to go in and out of the button 3 times. Why 3? Why not 3? I think 3 is enough to hold it. Okay. And now let's tie another knot. Now I'm going to do probably 3 1/2 inches. Again, this will be glued down, so not too panicky about it coming undone or anything. You could do these in any colors or any sizes for that matter. Okay, I'm going to leave a little tag, probably 1/4 of an inch or so, just because that's going to get glued down. So there we go. That's as easy as it is to make these. And I just love how they turned out. I like how they look. They're going to go great with the journal. So there's all those. And then all these little, some have the little mother of pearl, and some I put these little metal buttons on. But those, I think, go great. I think the colors go pretty good together with the book. What do you think? Like I say, they're going to go on the top, the bottom, and the side. These little square ones will just go within the journal someplace. Where, I have no idea yet. But I do love this, how this turned out. And follow along. Check out all the links below. And we'll see you again in the next video. Bye.